off all these siege tanks now. Those drones really desperately trying to run for their lives. There's Wednesday Night
vVv Gaming. And it looks like Titan's going to be spawning as the red Zerg. Don't quite know the positionings yet here. And Vile Illusion spawning as the pink Terran. Pretty in pink, and he's got a nice Sarah Kerrigan avatar there as well. Again, MLG Test Bug, those 3 starting positions. And we will have Vile Illusion in the southern position here as that pink Terran. And vVv Titan so far just 1 game short of an all-kill as the red Zerg in the northwest position in this jungle area. Illusion down in sort of this, I guess, high-tech machine-type area in the south part of the base. And then we'll have the desert area up in the northeast, which will sort of remain a desert with nothing in it.
All right, so we'll figure out what's going to be happening. What Testbug does have a lot of open areas. It does, a lot of Zerg players do like it because of the amount of open areas and also the number of expansions. There's a very easy to take natural expansion like it is on every map, but there's also these high ground expansions as well that are also very easy to take. If a Terran player tries to expand too quickly, the Zerg player can set up an 8 hatchery or a 3rd base at one of those locations as well. There are also these gold mineral expansions that you want to keep track of. They are very forward and just very much in the middle of the map. It's almost like you're fighting in the middle of a warfield. So very rarely do we ever see any of these gold minerals taking place, as we now see the supply depot and the barracks being completed by Illusion.
Yeah, you talk about the map, and the more I watch games on this map, especially high-level players like this, the more I fall in love with it. I mean, you mentioned those gold minerals at the center of the map. If you've got map control and if you're able to take down those destructible rocks, you can definitely take those. We've got the destructible rocks around the Zonago Towers as well, so a lot of areas where you can kind of exploit, depending on how the game is going, getting good map control and vision, and eventually taking one of those gold bases. If you feel like you're in the lead, you can get further ahead, or if you're not feeling so good about your position, you can take one of those more passive bases away from your opponent up in the corners. They're a little bit more difficult to defend for Zerg just because creep, very difficult to spread to a 3rd quickly, but like most maps, that's the case. And we do see Illusion opening relatively standard here with that racks and that gas, so no 2 racks coming here for Titan, as Titan just opening with that 14-14 tried and true.
Now Illusion now going for that tech lab, so we may see a Reaper expansion here coming in from Titan. Also, we have that Queen now being trained, metabolic boost being started. Metabolic boost very important on a large map like this where movement and speed is everything. Also, the Reaper will not be able to outrun those Zerglings, as I did guess correctly. It is going to be a Reaper first in order to try to wrestle away some map control. But with the speed boost about, 80 seconds away, that Reaper is not going to have that much time in order to pick off any of those Zerglings.
Yeah, we'll see how many Reapers Illusion actually goes for here. You know, sometimes just the one scouting Reaper that a player like Murder or Angry tend to favor in their many of their matchups, or whether he he reinforces this Reaper and starts to do some damage with it. He is going for that fast command center, so we'll be on 2 bases shortly here if he's able to land. But, oh, wow, so Titan actually going to see that Reaper, or at least hear the shots poking in there with that Zergling. So he's going to know he needs, 4 to 6 Zerglings here, speed just now finishing to take on the Reaper as it makes its way into the base.
Yeah, that Zergling with natural regeneration, able to survive 2 shots from that Reaper. It had 1 hit point, and the Zergling going to be like, yeah, I'm so glad I can heal myself even rather slowly, able to come back home and perhaps deal a little bit more damage a little bit later on. You can see Titan now training up a 2nd Queen already, and now getting a whole sea of Zerglings, so the Zerglings are going to be there, and I think that's exactly what Illusion wanted. He wanted to see his opponent, or perhaps cause his opponent to over-Zergling a little much. They're not going to be able to get through this front door. There's no Baneling's Nest, and with enough Marines and Reapers on the high ground, and not much that these Zerglings can really do.
Yeah, 13 Zerglings, so again, that could have been, an extra 6 drones or so. Titan could have been in the lead Harvester-wise. He is at 23 of 22, just having a bunch pop, and now will be droning, but he's got these Lings. He needs to be taking down some rocks. He needs to be poking at that front door. He needs to put these Lings to work. Right now, they're just getting basically paid to do nothing, sitting outside the base, of the Terran player. He does spot that there's still that one Reaper, and it's in the base of the Terran player, so he's at least going to feel comfortable that a Reaper is not right outside of his mineral line. So I guess he does have that going for him, but he needs to drone up and put these Zerglings to work somehow.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as what Vile or Illusion's going to be doing. He is getting a lot of supply depots, building more supply depots than he really needs right now, and he really needs to just really crank up his production. He's sitting at 43 over 54, getting up another depot, so he will be at 45 over 62. Plenty of room to work with. Meanwhile, the Zergling's still sitting outside next to those rocks, contemplating life, as you mentioned. What is that Zergling going to do? And now finally, Illusion establishing his natural expansion, but the Zergling may be able to get underneath there and prevent this, as we finally have an SCV setting up a bunker as well. Is it going to be enough? No, the Zergling being forced to back off, and now it is going to be 2-base play versus 2-base play.
And it's going to be 2-base aggressive play versus 2-base passive play, as we have got a lot of Lings and the Baneling Nest just now finishing for Titan. This is a play we see from him so often. After you see him work on that macro style, play those late games, you don't often expect this aggression, but we will have Hellions coming out, and if they're able to see these Banelings, might see a few more bunkers going up, as the Banelings just now coming in. The Zerglings just baiting those Hellions, and another 2 bunkers coming. The Banelings making their way in here, though. Are they able to take on those bunkers before even any Marines get in? And now these Banelings and Zerglings going to do huge damage.
Yeah, the Zerglings are now trying to fight against those Hellions, but the Hellions have really strong positioning. The Baneling may be able to sacrifice itself. Is it going to be enough? No, that damage wasn't enough, as a drop now happening over here at the natural expansion. Drones now coming in. Queen's now trying to get in some slashing as well. The Spine Crawler about to be completed. Are the Marines going to be able to jump inside the medevac? That is the key question there. A stim timing push. Once again, dropping onto the low ground. It looks like that medevac is going to get destroyed, but not after a lot of workers have been killed on both sides.
So I guess huge damage might have been a little bit of an exaggeration there. I thought some huge damage was going to be done, but Titan actually losing that encounter and then losing a number of drones in that drop. So far it's 5 workers killed for the Terran players. We see some midfield skirmishing happening between these Zerglings, but the Hellions going to be a lot of firepower to take on the Tier 1 of Titan. And now Titan having to respond with Spine Crawlers here, not feeling very safe at all. He's going to have to come out with a lot of Lings as well. He lost map control. Illusion's on 2 bases. Titan's in a little bit of a pickle here. He's not really far behind, but I think Illusion's got out well ahead of him at this point.
Yeah, Illusion sitting at 64 over 70 compared to 58 over 68. So the food count definitely favors Illusion at this point, but he is going to be supply blocked unless he gets 2 additional depots, and it looks like he will be able to finish those in just a moment. It looks like he's going to continue with this mass Marine play with an Engineering Bay as well. So that Engineering Bay level 1 weapons upgrade, most likely on weapons, as the Zerglings are now going to try to take down these destructible rocks. As we mentioned, not all rocks are created equally. These rocks have 3 armor, but only 1,500 hit points, and will get cleared out in just a moment.
Yeah, so that's a nice job by Titan, as he's going to be able to see with this Zelnaga tower the push as it comes. He doesn't have creep spread out too far quite yet, so any extra warning you can get, having that middle tower and having that close tower for when you have to start making some units is going to be very good. And now we see Illusion doing his best to get up his tech. He's got siege tanks out and also getting up another command center, so perhaps going to be going for some sort of 3-base max push with tanks and Marines. He is now getting out medevacs as well. We saw this come into play a little bit earlier with that drop, so we'll see whether he continues to stay aggressive with drops. When Titan actually chooses to take a third, it looks like he's responding with roaches, and might be maybe going a little bit overboard with the roaches, as we see Illusion being quite passive with these Hellions still.
Yeah, so the Hellions are now once again trying to make a move out. They do not have the blue flame tech, so they're going to have to 3-shot Zerglings in order to deal any serious damage at all, as Zerglings are able to just run straight into that fire there. And now it looks like Illusion now controlling the center portion. A 3rd base has been established by Titan at the 12 o'clock location, so that will definitely help. But whether or not any units can be transferred over there is going to be critical. And also, the gold rocks are being taken down at the 12 o'clock position as well, but it doesn't look like the Hellions are able to spot that.
And I like this play by Titan, taking those Spine Crawlers, continuing to uproot them and push them out. He is establishing a far forward position, and once he gets far enough out here, he's going to be able to guard his 3rd and a possible gold as well, as we see Illusion pushing out. to the edge of this creep, and he's going to have to siege up since Titan's done a nice job spreading this creep, and now he's going to have to take on the spine crawlers as well. I imagine Titan might uproot those and pull them back while he waits for units.
Yeah, Zergling's just dancing back and forth. Another spine crawler getting taken down. The Roach is perhaps going to try to go for a flank, unable to do so. And Illusion absolutely just cleaning up this aggression here, or just all the creep tumors and all of that static defense. Roach is now trying to come back in, perhaps getting us around. The siege tanks were unsieged for just a moment, so that was just a perfect timing as the Roaches are now perhaps going to finish off the rest of these units here. It looks like Roaches versus Marines. The Marines do have medevac support, but Illusion getting cleaned up in this trade.
Yeah, speed kicking in for Titan there, and great creep spread. He forced the Terran opponent to siege up off creep, and then he had to unsiege and push onto creep, and he took that opportunity. He knows that timing, very susceptible to push out from Zerg, and now we see sort of hot drops coming here from Illusion, using the siege tank in that medevac, doing a great job picking it up, finally dropping it, but was able to get a number of shots off there that he wouldn't have otherwise. And now Titan going to try to put some pressure on here with these Roaches, but it looks like Illusion does have the answer and more Marines at his base.
Yeah, I didn't think that push would actually go down that far. A really, really just top-notch micro coming in from Illusion. If you don't know, siege tanks, their attacks are instantaneous as opposed to a missile attack of the Roach. So a siege tank can drop, fire, and then be picked back up into the medevac, and as the Roach tries to target and tries to attack, its acid slime just essentially misses its target. But you can't do it that often. You can't rinse and repeat, otherwise it will get destroyed, as the Marines are now once again pushing back against these Roaches. The Roaches do not have creep to really play on, and this may be a bit of an issue as a siege tank cleaning up those Roaches now.
Yeah, that creep is receding, and you're right, that is a huge issue for Zerg. That means that Illusion's going to be able to get kind of in between the second and third base here. It's going to be very difficult to defend. Sure, Titan has a natural flank sort of built in, being able to attack from both directions, but Illusion can actually push into either the natural or the third. It's going to be quite susceptible, and then always retreat back to this tank. Now it looks like Titan pushing out here. Tank's coming in a little bit late, sieging up a little bit late, and we'll see whether the micro of Illusion here able to take down these Roaches as more and more Roaches come in, but the Marines always retreating back to this siege tank in a very good position.
Yeah, Illusion also coming in for a drop over here, so it's attacking the third base and the second base at the same time. Roaches trying to swarm in, Illusion fighting back. It looks like all the Roaches at the natural expansion will get destroyed. Meanwhile, Illusion also going to shut down the spine crawler here, so it looks like a couple Roaches now trying to engage, and I believe Illusion has broken the front line, and we may see that third base fall.
Yeah, that drone, or the drop doing a ton of damage, though I think that Titan might be able to clean that up. He's got a few residual Roaches here, but his economy is hurting, his supply is hurting, 145 to 87, and Illusion is in firm control. And for kind of a substitute player, maybe a player that doesn't have the recognition or the name value of other Vile Gaming members, Illusion is playing out of his mind great.
Yeah, just doing absolutely great. Now the Marines once again going to stim in, just putting multiple pressures, almost like the MMA style with dropships, attacking everywhere those Marines, such high DPS for how much or how little room they take up on the battlefield. And those Roaches are trying to get within range, but unable to really do anything at all, as the Marines are able to outrun while stimmed. But I believe that stim pack will give up in just a moment, or yeah, those are the longest lasting drugs I've seen in quite some time.
And check out Illusion's base. We don't often do justice and look at the production structures, but this man has a ton of barracks. I think he's got at least 13 I can count, maybe even more, but he's going to have a ton of units coming out shortly out of all these racks, adding a number of factories as well. His macro is slipping as he does push in here in between the second and the third. Titan once again having to pull off drones to try to defend against this. Those Roaches able to get in on those siege tanks and try to focus them down, and the GG coming from Titan. Illusion's been able to stop the reign of terror of vVv Titan and force a game 6 here.